I don't even know how to start it.
Maybe I should start by turning on the audio recorder, otherwise you are going to just listen to the microphone sound, and this is not what I'm looking for. All right, so let's get started. Today we are going to be talking graphics. Don't know why I did this movement with my hand, but today we are going to discuss whether or not graphics are relevant for you, the quality of the game or not. Because I have a theory here. In my opinion, graphics are the least important things in a video game. So before we start, let me know in the comments your opinion. Do you think that the graphics are relevant for the quality, the overall quality of the video game or not? So here are my arguments why I think that graphics are actually not relevant for the quality of a video game. The first one is, if graphics were that relevant for a video game, the video games would never exist in the first place, because when video games started, the graphics were just not existent basically. I mean, there were graphics, but it was black and white, like Pong-like video games, because the first games in the world were not even video games. They were another kind of machine. I can even search for you. Let me just check here. So according to Wikipedia, and if you don't trust Wikipedia, you are completely free to do your own research and post about it in your own YouTube channel, because I do believe in most of the things that Wikipedia says. All right, so this information that I have here just says the video games started around 1952, more or less. And it's not an actual, all right, this was the very start, the very first video game ever. It's because the video games were played in machines that weren't created to be video games. I had an entire discipline about the video game history, and the teacher at the time told me that, this is why I know this information, that the first video games actually were like vector machines that were made for math. They made mathematic machines machines that were made to create mathematic graphics. They just changed a few things in the machine to make it work as a video game. The first video games appeared like this, and the image that I remember the teacher showing in the school was this one that you are seeing in my screen right now. Pretty cool, huh? So basically, you had to use your imagination to play or just enjoy the mechanics. So my first argument is that the video games actually started and continued for a very long time without even close of a realistic thing to look at. So the graphics and the visuals, the visuals are different from graphics, but the realism was not a thing that was important in the world of the video games. It wasn't important to the development of the video games too. And even deeper than that, in my theory, I blame the graphics for the hard times we are going through in the video game world right now in 2022. So my first argument is that if the graphics were actually important, video games would never exist. My second argument is that most of the games that have a very good review, evaluation, and grades on these reviews are actually games that doesn't look that good. And also, the most played games in the world are not realistic games. So let's check if my second argument is actually valid or not. Let's search for this information. Best-selling video games of all time. Let's see here. Wikipedia again. That's it. We are going to use Wikipedia as a source for everything here. So the top selling game ever with 238 million copies in the world was Minecraft. Have you ever heard of Minecraft? And I bet you know that it's known for a lot of things: creativity, survival, but graphics are definitely one of the things that you don't hear a lot about Minecraft. Actually, most people work to improve the graphics of Minecraft on their own, making shaders and texture packs and other things to improve the graphics. And this didn't got in the way of Minecraft in being the best-selling video game in the world ever. But as you can see, even when you search for Minecraft on Google, all the first images you are going to see here are images that are not actually the game. They made like fake images to make the game look better, to make it more like easy to sell. But the game definitely doesn't look like this, at least not from the factory. It looks pretty much like this. I don't know why the I'm showing you images of Minecraft. You probably already saw Minecraft 1 billion times in your life. Oh my god, like 95% of the images are not actually real images of Minecraft when you Google it. It just proves my point of how bad looking Minecraft is, although it's the best-selling video game ever. And the second one is GTA 5. Although it's a realistic game, the game is not like photorealistic. It's not the best looking games. It's not among the best looking games like Horizon Zero Dawn, or maybe I don't remember any other games. It's good graphics right now. Horizon Zero Dawn, or maybe Forza Horizon, just because I have Horizon in the name makes. But Tetris is this third one, okay? But this is a very old game, and Wii Sports, these have terrible graphics. So I think that if you consider success in a game for the graphics, Pokemon Red, Blue, and Green, Terraria, man, like look at this. This is the actual look of the game. You can tell that this game doesn't have very good looking graphics, or I mean, it can look good, but not realistic, you know. As you can see, if you go into the number 20, let's count here how many of these have actually good graphics, and let's not consider Skyrim a good looking. You can tell that's not a good looking, not even Skyrim is one of my favorite games ever, and I think that most of the people who's watching this and actually played Skyrim will tell the same. Skyrim is one of the best games ever produced in the world, and we all have to agree that even for 2011 it wasn't a very good looking game, and most people are going to tell that it's among the best games ever. Call of Duty, The Witcher 3, Red Dead Redemption 2, PUBG is on that weird good looking but it's not at the same time, 4 and 5 with Grand Theft Auto. And we can also consider Skyrim if you want, because it's just aiming for the realistic thing, but the technology didn't allow Skyrim to be realistic. So 6 out of the top 20 best-selling games ever are actually aiming for realism and aiming for good graphics, or what's considered to be good graphics nowadays. So this pretty much makes my point. My second argument, I think, I feel that's pretty safe to say that my second argument is very fair. Good graphics doesn't matter. Now let's go to my third argument. Good looking graphics doesn't make the review of a game be extremely positive. Let's just check some reviews of games that are considered to be very good looking games. The Order, 1886, I said 1882, but it's 1886. Right, so this game had terrible grades scores, even for the Metacritic and actually user scores. So, and this game is just freaking gorgeous. It looks very, very good. It was a very anticipated game when it was being produced, because it was just good looking, and the graphics and all the explosions, the visual effects, and you can see it here in this video. Let me just show you a YouTube video of this. So as you can see, the visuals are just stunning. Look very good, even if we consider that it is already a few years old, like it was on the beginning of the PS4 generation. So I think it's probably almost 6 years old, this game. I have to search. And if you consider the age of this game, it's insane how it looks. But apparently the team worked so hard on the graphics, on the visuals of the game, that they forgot about something that's actually way more important in a video game: the actual freaking game. If you just have visuals, and visuals is everything that you have on a game, you are not going to have a very good video game, right? Do you agree with me? Let me know in the comments. Give your opinion. I want to know if you are enjoying this video, and don't forget to subscribe too, please. Okay, so this was the announcement game, the trailer, right? So let me just see some gameplay. Look at this. Let me see how old this video is. Yeah, the game is, this video was made like 8 years ago, 2014. And as you can see, this is gameplay. This is insane. Even for nowadays, if you compare the graphics of a game with 8 years old, Okay, this scene is not the best one, but if you compare most of the scenes of this game with nowadays games that are from 2020, 2022, this game is still looking as one of the best looking games ever. Look at the movement, the animations, the lighting. Look at this. The game just looks so good, and the score is very low for both the critics and also the players. Yeah, Star Wars Battlefront 2 has a 6.8 or 68 on Metacritic and 1.6 on the user score, probably because of the pay to win. But as you can see, you can invest as much as you want in a game to be good looking, and still there are other things that can just destroy the score of your game and how people see and play your game. There are lots of games that have excellent looks. You can just see here the graphics are excellent on Metacritic. Let me just full screen this. The visuals are just stunning. They're very, very good. Oh, not in this. Okay, but here, yeah, the look is the game is definitely good looking. I don't even know when this was released. Let me check here. Yeah, 2017. It's pretty recent. It has 5 years, I mean. But as you can see, the game has like 5 years old, and still the game is very good looking and have a very poor score because they forgot about the most important thing, the actual game and the gamer, people who are playing the game. I think we have a very solid argument here. The biggest problem and the reason why I created this video is because people are just worried about the graphics, and all the people cares about when they are seeing and watching the trailers from new video games, new consoles, new generation games, new hardware in general, like new video games, new PlayStations, new Xboxes, new GPUs, and so on. All that people cares about are the graphics before they are released. And I think that most of the games, they fail or succeed even before the game is released, because lots of the sales are going to come from people who are expecting the game, and they only care about the graphics when they're seeing the trailers. So this is your fault. In the past, the games were so much better, like in terms of actual game. I'm not saying that there are no good games nowadays. There are many good games nowadays. But if you compare the amount of games that are considered good by the players, by the community, by the critics, the amount of good games being released are much fewer than the good games that were being released in the past, like 20 years ago, 15 years ago, in the PlayStation 2, PlayStation 1 generation, and before. In the past, when you think about the PlayStation 1 generation, every single year, probably they were releasing like 10 times less games than there are nowadays, because the technology made it so much easier to make games. Now I can just use a laptop that I have in my home, and just with that, I can develop a full game that's going to be a top seller, like Terraria or Stardew Valley and Stanley Parable too. I don't know why I was thinking about this game. I don't know if the Stanley Parable was made by a small team, but I'm sure that Terraria was made by a small team. Minecraft was made by a small team. And also Stardew Valley, that was made by just one guy along 8 years, of course, lots of work. And the guy is just a genius, has lots of merit. But it was almost impossible to do this in the 2000s, like before 2010, when you didn't have Unity, when CryEngine was actually one of the most used ones, and Unreal Engine was very hard to use compared to today. The games are much more accessible to create. There are much more games being made nowadays than there was in the past, even considering the pandemic that just slowed down the production of all the video games in the world. Not all, but most of them. And why do you think this happens? I honestly believe that this happens because in the past, even the big studios who produced $1 million, billion dollars video games didn't have access to ultra realistic games all the time. They did have to solve the problems with creativity. Like if they didn't have a way to show that an item was exactly that, to make sure that people would understand what the item was, and how to solve the problems inside of the design of the game, they would need to recur to creativity instead of just, okay, let's hop in this good-looking game to fill the holes that are actually making this game so bad, although it looks good. That what's happened with Star Wars Battlefront 2. That is a good-looking game, probably has a good gameplay. I don't know, I never played the game, but I know for sure that people were extremely mad with the game because of the pay-to-win. Gambling to get edge in multiplayer. Need to kill this snake before it comes a dragon. Give 1 point because of the pretty good graphics. This review just says everything about what this game is and what I think about it. Just 1 point because of the graphics. Even when I make my reviews on my Instagram, for example, about the games, the graphics are the things that are like least important in the actual final score of the game. So if you want to discover if the game you are playing is actually good from day one, what I recommend you to do is a very easy to do exercise. Open your game and set all the graphic settings to the lower possible. Play the game for a while, and if the game is still fun with the graphics all in the worst settings possible, it is because the game is a good one. This video is already extremely long. It's my first one. I will continue trying to bring you my opinion and the discussions about the video game industry and also other games. So if you are interested in making this kind of weird research with me in the videos, just let me know in the comments what would you like to get tested in the video game world. If you want to know my opinion and my very, very in-depth research to prove a point in an argument. Let me know if you agree with me that the graphics are not important. If the games were better in the past too, let me know all your opinion about this in the comments. Don't forget to drop a like if you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much if you watched this video until now. Don't forget to subscribe to receive all of my videos and ring that bell too. My name is Lucas Highland, and thank you all.